now you feel the drama at the same time.
I always feel the drama.
Yes.
In what? People's heads being blown out? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, people's heads being blown off.
Wonderful.
Indeed.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Grime and Game Grimecast.
Snoochie boochies.
Snoochie woochies.
I
haven't seen Clerks in a very long time.
Clerks 2 is the best.
Clerks 2 is pretty solid. Mallrats is
come on, you gotta...
up there with Chasing Amy as far as a waste of time for the most part.
Good point.
That's a browbeat thing.
But they're not as bad.
Think?
Clerks 2.
Clerks 2.
Clerks 1 had... So I posted like a 6-minute video once about the Death Star. Like all these workers that had to rebuild the Death Star and they blew it up again.
Who the hell is they? The hell's an aluminum Falcon?
Well, no...
What are you telling me? A bunch of fucking teenagers blew up the goddamn Death Star?
I mean, just think about these workers, innocent workers, going in, trying to rebuild something contracted by the government, and then these rebels just destroy them and kill them.
So you got to think about, have you seen the Robot Chicken where they make fun of that? So they're sitting there, and Darth Vader's trying to give this epic rant to Luke and Darth Vader at the end of the 6th movie. He's like, you will feel, and all of a sudden you hear, like hammers and stuff going off in the background. He's like, oh, hold on one second. We got repairs doing, whole Death Star blew up. So, hey, buddy, you want to turn it off? Hey, look, we got a deadline we got to meet. We can't be stopping and doing this. Oh, okay, we'll just push on through this. So they're trying to do the whole scene while workers are in the background.
Yeah, I know. But, of course, in Star Wars age, droids would be doing it. But still.
No. Come on. There are employment laws. This is just like Dune, but they're in jihad.
Minus
Actually,
Spain.
I had a question about that recently because I was bored and wasn't feeling too great and wanted to get a nice pick-me-up film. So I rewatched episode 7. And my question was, afterwards, what is the understanding within the Star Wars universe of droids as beings or life forms? Because people aren't afraid to use them for various purposes, but you have battle droids, you have protocol droids, you have lifter droids, you have ships, basically. But some droids, like especially the ones our protagonists have, whether they're unique or just happen to be in a bunch of shit, they are given preferential treatment. They aren't used as things or discarded. Like, whatever, they're clones. We can always make more. In fact, clones have less value than droids, seemingly. Do you think they're treated as sapient beings, as living things, as individuals?
Kind of like a mechanical blow-up doll.
Well, you guys haven't seen Rogue One yet. Well, you have, Quinn.
I have. Yes, I've
seen it.
You saw it, too.
So you guys have all seen it. Okay, so
I
we've all
saw it in
seen it
theaters.
here, Kaya included. Remember K2SO?
Yep.
He was just another protocol droid. Imperial, yes. Made all imposing and mean-looking. But the protocol droid's job is to do whatever it's programmed to do. To us, he's special because they happen to scavenge the unit. And he maybe has his own personality. Maybe it's just coding that makes us think he has personality. But when it dispatches another K2SO unit in the infiltration on the shield world that they have to take over with the archives, there's not a whole lot of compassion from the people there, like, hey, take him out. But the droid's like, shit, I don't want to do this. It's like if you order a clone to kill another clone. It knows it's a clone, hopefully, but it still feels kind of bad,
Well, R2-D2 had personality to make you feel bad, too. And I think it's a movie thing.
Well, R2-D2 has been through how many films? All of them, pretty much. Every one of them has R2-D2. So that
C-3PO.
astromech unit...
No, C-3PO's not in this one, is he?
No.
not
or
Wait, no.
R2-D2.
Briefly, he was there. To lament, as he always does. He's made to suffer. Speaking of which, the channel I like to reference quite a bit for jokes, Oral Knots, has a great video if R2-D2 had a voice. And they give him a English inflection, very much like C-3PO as a good counterpart, and it's beautiful because the scenes still flow. So every time he was beeping booping, it's a believable interpretation of what he would have said instead, which I kind of dig. But again, what do you think about this artificiality? Because we talk about how Imperial Stormtroopers are the legacy of the Clone Wars, so they still have clone armies, at least for some of the military. Some units are raised, trained, and volunteered. In the new films, the New Order, they're using a conditioned war orphan program where they take kids, abduct them, train them, and make them efficient ruthless killers. Very much like Halo with the Spartans. Why not? If it works. Hey, they blew up a republic. What have you done recently? They built a cannon into a planet. What the fuck? With this in mind, clones, very disposable, seemingly. Not a whole lot of Blade Runner replicant shit here. Not a lot of compunction. I mean, there's some of them like, Cody and Rex. But they're all just serial clones. They're all expendable. The Jedi use them willy-nilly. Droids, though, apparently are harder to make. And people want to keep them around. People want to give them extra value. How do you feel about the value of a life that is artificial.
They're like Mexicans. They just take all the jobs.
Well, if they do them better, why shouldn't they?
Yeah, good point.
And you didn't have to pay them. Just make them do it till they die and then replace them with some new ones, right?
Yes.
New Mexicans every day.
Just keep them on the line. Just you have the women in the background just shooting them out, new babies, and it's just process as they grow up.
New baby droids.
Yeah, new baby droids.
Well, have you seen any science fiction that made you kind of question that or challenge that? Because I'm really
iRobot.
iRobot with Alan Tudyk. Yes, absolutely.
No, what is it?
Yeah, Sonny
Will
is
Smith?
is voiced by Alan Tudyk.
Really?
K2 is so,
Okay.
and Sonny have the same actor.
He's also the pirate guy from Dodgeball.
Okay, so he actually plays a human then.
Yeah, he's played tons of humans.
Okay.
Not tons. My favorite human is Watt from Knight's Tale.
Yeah, he did pretty good on that one.
Oh,
I
Alan.
remember him a lot. Most people know him though as the Duke of
Oh.
Weaseltown from Frozen.
Not as well,
No one
maybe.
watches Frozen.
People with
the
kids.
The voice, yeah.
The voice.
People know him in face mostly as Hoban Washburn from Firefly. Although Kai knows him as, correct me if I'm wrong, Alpha?
Yes,
Yes.
Alpha and Dollhouse.
Dollhouse.
What is Dollhouse?
It's an amazing...
Porn movie?
No.
That's a sci-fi.
It's a show. It got cut too soon by Fox.
Wasn't it? What's her name? Dushku.
Yeah, Eliza.
Dushkanu, as one of my friends used to call her.
She's an amazing actress. She was also Faith in Buffy.
For a bit, wasn't she? There was an actor before her played her, right?
No, I don't think so.
I'm thinking the wrong character. My bad.
Well, stop being bats.
Yeah,
Go on, Kai.
Robbie.
What's the show about?
Dollhouse?
Yeah.
So basically...
It needs exposure.
It does. It's a really good show. It is about... you take these humans, they sign a contract to basically have their personalities, memories, everything wiped clean, and they can get imprinted with whatever personality, whatever memories or person they want, and then rich people hire them to be companions basically for them, and they're completely imprinted with whatever they want to be.
How much does that pay an hour? Did they explain?
You get a large sum of money at the end of it, and you don't remember any of it. You don't remember any of the personalities that you were. You don't remember anything you did.
Well, that takes away prostitution in that show.
I think that was the whole point.
Yeah, basically. They do other stuff too, like they hire them as bodyguards or trained killers, hitmen, things like that.
They
it's
sell
not all sex.
time.
I mean, yeah, I would say it'd be kind of a boring TV show. I mean, there's only so many jerks you can get in an hour before.
What was the one you told me about with Patton Oswalt? That episode.
His wife died, and he wanted to bring her back, so it was a recurring customer every week, basically. Eliza plays his wife with all of her memories, all of her personality. It's kind of sweet for a while.
Kind of creepy over time that he couldn't get over it, though.
Yeah.
How do they get the wife's information, though? Memories, impressions, all that?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Videos, DVDs,
I think you
pictures,
can
stuff.
go in when you're alive and have yourself uploaded. So she might have done that before she died.
There was a very mediocre sci-fi movie called Sixth Day with Schwarzenegger. Anybody know this one?
Nope.
Okay.
I only know Sharknado.
Is this the clone?
It is the clone one.
Yes, I know
absolutely.
that one.
Yep. So they had a system called syncording where you take a neural scan, a snapshot of the brain, like a save state, basically. So that's how they would...
Wait, is that the one where they, at the beginning of the movie,
Maybe.
he's driving to work and there's an autopilot with...
Yeah.
And he has the way they find out he's a
Shucks.
clone.
God fucking damn it, man.
I'm trying to remember the
Specificity.
movie. Try to remember the
Words.
movie.
Go ahead.
Yes, the helicopter blades lock into a V, and it just takes off with the jets and flies over the mountains because he's a cool snowboard instructor man.
Yeah.
Who has to go to the mall, go to Repet because her dog died, so the clone that got on
Had the right
dogs.
movie.
And in the beginning of the movie, he was escorting a rich guy.
I think so.
Something
It's been a
like
long
that,
time.
yeah.
I confuse the Sixth Day and End of Days. They're both about the same tier.
Michael
But-
Rapaport is the guy's name. I couldn't remember.
Rappaport?
It's yeah,
What
it's
about
Place's
Michael
best friend.
Rooker? What about that guy who lost his foot? Who plays not Miondu, something. I almost have the word, but I
Yondu.
forgot. Yondu, there you go. Guardians of the Galaxy.
He also plays Merle.
See, I
Merle in Walking
started watching The Walking Dead, and then by, what was it, the 4th episode, they left Michael Rooker chained up on the rooftop.
Comes
and I
back
just
in
stopped
season
watching.
3.
I fucking stopped watching it. No, you don't leave that guy up there.
What
He
the movie?
was Dad in Jumper. You don't leave Dad in Jumper nailed to
Oh,
a
was
fucking
he
rooftop.
Dad in Jumper?
He was Dad in Jumper, yes.
drunk?
The drunk dad.
Aw.
Who did nothing wrong except grieve for the loss of his wife, and that's why he's bad dad.
What was the movie he was in where he turns into the giant, like alien sloth fat creature?
You're thinking of Slither.
Thank you.
I've
Why do
never
I know
seen
that? Why do I know that? Nathan Fillion's in that one too, by the way. So I think Joss Whedon had a hand.
Your boss told me to watch that movie, and it's like,
Okay.
I looked at the YouTube trailer of it.
It's pretty
freaking
comical.
old.
It is.
Did she tell you to
But it's
also
good.
watch Tusk?
No.
I wouldn't watch that.
I haven't seen Tusk, but I'm morbidly curious because
That is another
Just
Kevin
on law.
Smith film.
She got
I'm
my
well aware.
Film.
She got my
See-
ex-girlfriend to turn on It Follows, and I watched it, and I'm like, fuck, we're never listening to her again.
Kevin Smith used to make movies, and then Kevin Smith discovered weed, and then his movies kind of took an experimental nature and hardly panned out because while he had gumption for his thought pieces like Dogma and Clerks 2, Clerks, such Jersey Girl again, when he went for Red State and Cop Out.
You know,
And
Red State, sorry, but Red State was actually stupid, but
It's interesting.
It is.
It's three
John
movies in
Goodman.
one.
I
It's
love
three
John
movies in
Goodman.
one.
So do I.
And I love actors like Marlon Brando. Like, ones you don't see much, but then when you do see them, they actually do a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Dan D.
Which one's
Lewis
that one?
always comes up.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
My Left Foot, Last of the Mohicans, Bill the Butcher,
Butcher. From
Daniel Plainview,
played Abraham Lincoln in Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Was he the sheriff in The Last of the Mohicans?
No.
No, he was the Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, here's the Mohican.
He was Bill the Butcher, the guy with the eye in fucking Gangs of New
Oh,
York.
okay.
But
Yeah,
anytime
okay.
that guy shows
You see
up,
this knife?
he's literally
Let's
won
just
an
speak
award
English
for
with
every
his
movie he's
fucking
done,
knife.
except Crucible. Crucible's a shit movie.
Still haven't seen Crucible. I believe
It's a
you.
shit movie,
But-
but he does a great performance. We'll give him that.
Well, sometimes an actor tries to carry it through, even if the movie is not that great.
So, but to get back to Marlon Brando, fun fact, he never memorized his lines.
You told me the story. He would
Just
practice
improvised
it
it?
the same day. Not even
He would
practice,
read
just
it the
go
same
for
day, but so during Superman he plays Jor-El.
Jor-El.
Yep. So there's a scene where he's talking to baby Superman. Actually, there's the script is where it's at.
Is it Baby Superman or is it Super Baby Man?
It's Super Baby Man. But and so he never memorized his lines. So he showed up like, "You got your lines?" They're like, "Nope." So they sat the script what he had to read, and he just read the script, staring at this supposed baby. And it was supposed to. The understanding was it was supposed to pan around. You see Superman fly off, but they never did because.
Because script page right there.
Yeah.
So Brando is notorious, basically, is
Yep.
what you're saying.
Same thing with the Island Doctor Monroe.
Monroe, yeah, that's the
the
one.
score. He played him there. Where you
He
discovered
did, he
Marlon
did.
Brando was fat.
He was fat and he was lazy. And he just went, come on, just do this one job for me. Come on, please.
You needed a quick paycheck.
Ed Norton was there too.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
an interesting
Robert De
turn.
Niro. I actually liked it.
Yeah, Bob De Niro is not the draw. Ed Norton playing, excuse me for saying so, but half a retard.
Retarded? Yeah.
No, half. Come on, he was only pretending. You never go
Yeah.
full on. Ben
Pretty
Stiller taught us that. You never go full.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. taught us that.
No. Well, he told us that,
Yes.
but then Ben Stiller did
Did it.
and he taught us not to
Good
by
point.
doing it.
You know, for a podcast, we talk a lot more about movies than games.
We do, but that's okay. I mean, we our content is games centered, I suppose. But that's because we're just a bunch of monkeys with typewriters. We don't have the skills to make anything
You know
good.
what they say about monkeys with typewriters, though?
You add about 997 more thousand of us, and yeah, we'll get you Shakespeare. Why not?
Certainly.
Nerd talk.
Schindler's List. Recently, I came across a couple of channels like King K, Ray Civic, a few others that just have very good essays about games, but they're 40-minute long videos or an hour-long videos talking about, well, just painstakingly telling us our impressions of existing game franchises, like Zelda or Dark Souls, for example. I mean, what they have to say isn't necessarily new, but it's interesting to hear them talk about it. But that requires a week more of editing, getting footage, writing a script, practicing it, doing takes, syncing it up, putting a video.
We don't have the time for that.
I mean, if any one of us are free to quit our jobs at any point in time, I suppose.
Julie,
Yeah, what's the point of Grime?
Grime? Oh, we could throw in a few fucks in there. Why not?
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot of games coming out this year.
There are a lot of games coming out every day. They're just
Yeah.
mostly shit. Okay,
Popular
coin.
popular culture games.
What are you
that
looking forward
just-
to? Because we just got a Zelda, Breath of the Wild. That satisfies
Switch.
everyone's needs for...
Unless
well, no,
it-
for the Wii U as well, sir. Although
Is
it
it?
is definitely the swan song of the Wii U this year. Yes.
Because they're not making any games after that.
No, support is going to dwindle and die. So that
So
wonderful little
that's
console.
the one thing I like Nintendo. It's like, all right, we're going to this new console.
You like anything
Fuck
about
you.
Nintendo?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Cube?
You like Nintendo?
I do.
What's wrong with you?
I enjoy Nintendo.
Maybe-
I enjoy the Wii because I have kids. Once again, kids come to
Oh,
play.
Yeah, you're a kid
God.
at heart. I got you.
You and the Wii. You have every game system.
I do. I normally buy.
It's a
every game.
multicultural. It's a multicultural room.
That makes you the whitest guy here. I got them all. I never play them though. I just like to watch Netflix and play football on the Wii.
No, actually, there's not been a football.
Where's
game
your
on the
Steam
Wii.
controller? Where is your Steam controller?
I don't have one.
You gotta white up, man. You gotta white up and
I
get
do.
one.
I'm gonna have to go pretty hard on this whiteness.
You gotta set your Steam box and downstairs TV and say, okay, I'm gonna stream all of my games from the comfort of my couch, and never fucking do it. Also, put that next to your VR set that's showing you use.
Actually, I do have a VR set. I got it for free though. Free. Well,
Freebie? Free set?
So if you bought 2 new phones, it's technically not free. I'm gonna get back to this. Let me reiterate this. I
Okay.
got 2. I got a Galaxy 7.
Okay.
Not a Note 7. I got an S7.
You got a 7 something. You got a Nexus 7. Very good.
So if you bought 2 of them, if you bought one at all, you got a VR headset with it. The Say Galaxy. Hold on here. I got it. Pinky out. Pinky out. Gotta get fancy here.
Pinky's out. Do it. Do it.
So when I got it, I got a VR headset. And I have to say, I quite enjoyed it. The first time I played it, I knocked over a Coke. I was like, oh, I want to check out behind me. So I spun around and flung my arms around and bitch slapped my
Your
Coke.
arms are a menace.
They are. My hands are the world's worst nightmare.
Not to mention you throw controllers, so it doesn't matter.
I haven't thrown a
you do.
controller since I hit my kid in the head with a battery.
Ah. So
That learned you or the kid? Or both?
Hurt her only.
No, learned. Like, which one of you learned?
I did. I learned that day. She just realized I got hit in the head with a battery and cried a little bit and then walked off.
I don't know what happened. Just leaves the scene.
I'm like 8 months old, got hit in the head with a battery. What do I do? Cry?
It's okay. I'm not forming memories. Ah.
Pretty much. It's like, Daddy, why do I have this indent in the middle of my skull now? See,
It's
sweetheart, what happened?
because your father was the Iron Giant and you're adopted.
So I don't know about you, but well, maybe I'm not much of a gamer, but I'm tired of Zelda. I played Zelda 10, 20 years ago, but now I'm tired. It's like Fantasy 5, 6, 7, 8. Fucking tired of it.
15?
Really, I'm just
How
like,
many finals
okay,
can there be?
stop
This is
marketing
it.
this
all of them,
stupid
really.
game, man. Just spend all your money on something new, revolutionize something. I'm
Well,
like,
they did,
damn it.
you see. They did.
They
The
updated all
license
of
still
them.
sells, but what they did was, Ubisoft's model seems to work. We'll do that. That was their solution this time around, is what I feel.
The nostalgia's still there for me. Maybe playing it would get old, but I don't know. When I still hear the noises and stuff,
So,
the game.
I had a little nostalgia when I played Mafia 3 for like 2 seconds, but then I'm done. I don't know. I guess I get your idea.
We say
but-
Zelda as a catch-all. But again, since recently I've been watching a lot of videos of people navel-gazing with very good eloquence regarding the series, they do have distinct feelings among the entries. It's the same story, but told in different tones. So, for example, I'm very curious about Majora's Mask. I'm not sure if I'd enjoy playing it mechanically, but I like the idea, the theme, the looping Groundhog Day, Doomsday scenario. You have 3 days, don't have enough time, but each time you try, you might get a little closer to undoing this thing, and just looping over and over and over. But it's grim, and it's got a lot of sorrow in the world. There's a message of hope there once you get it all beat, but it's difficult. It's not like Dark Souls, feels-wise. Shit's gonna happen, you can't stop it, but maybe you can try. As opposed to, well, you're the hero of time, you have to be here, go through the motions, solve the temples because you have to banish the evil.
In that aspect, you got to look at how those games have kind of reinvented themselves slightly. Like, look at Mario. They did, okay, we got Mario Party, that
I
got
can't,
old.
he's 2D.
Good point. Like, then we have Super Mario Adventures, we're going to redo the old ones, and then we're going to do Super Mario Party, then Mario Kart. Then they were like, alright, we need to keep reinventing it in Mario Galaxy, because pretty much they were just throwing, like, whatever we can do. Like, okay, this was a hit for a bit.
Mario
Let's-
Sunshine.
Exactly,
Super
but
Mario.
you got to look at
Cleanse the darkies.
the complete opposite spectrum. They're like, we have a character, what can we do? We'll just keep throwing games at it, and hopefully it works. But we're not going to reinvent anything. What are we going to call this? Sonic. Okay, I got it. There's going to be a little blue shit that runs around super fast. Anything else? No, just throw some assholes in there and some animals, and we're good to go.
Throw in more animals. Is that okay? Use more animals! Sir, Biggs the Cow's a disaster. We'll make it liquid metal.
Like, all right, now we got to add some crystals. That didn't really involve the story at all. All right, now make a
Look
fat
at the
guy.
speed of franchise progression compared to 15, 20, 30 years of characters we recognize from the NES days and beyond, and before even. And they're H-tier models now, versus new franchises that emerge frequently, every 6 months, every 8 months. Phone games, mobile games, where you have the same, like, this is Battle Clickers 4. There were 3 others before this one. This happened. Oh wow, Q1 2015. Now we're up to this one. So you have an established fan base that took decades to cultivate versus lots of new kids now, lots of new generations that need to be sold products, and they can't attach to the old guys. So instead you just ape them and borrow them. It was great. Yesterday, I took a glance at a lot of the Android games and apps. There's a mech game that straight up rips off art from Titanfall 2. Just completely. It calls it something else. So, I mean, if the image sells, do it, I suppose. I've never actually played a Zelda game, but I did play both the Darksiders entries and I played 3D Dot Game Heroes, so I feel like I have the Zelda experience. You're welcome to say I don't, but...
I've only played the Zelda Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time.
I played whatever Zelda was on N64.
Majora's
okay.
Mask and Ocarina of Time.
There you go. The one where he lived in the forest but then was lost.
Ocarina of Time.
There you go.
It's
That one.
the one that was considered a perfect game
You just
for a
explained
very long
both
time.
games, by the way. He lived in the forest, but he was lost. So he gets lost in the beginning of Majora's
Ocarina.
Mask,
And
but
there's
he lived in the
skeletons.
forest
And there's
in the beginning of Ocarina of Time. So you literally combined both of them together.
And there were skeletons that coming up from
So
the
what you're
ground
saying
at
is
night.
you played both of them at the same time. So you had the Captain Planet of video games
Yeah.
because with their powers combined, it was just so awesome that it's formed into one
That's how I
memory.
felt.
Can it still be fun to navigate dungeons the same way it was about 10 years ago? Because
Uh,
Zelda prided itself on puzzle, navigation, treasures, and hidden collectibles, right?
Actually,
True.
here's cheesy.
You know what
Here's
was
a ripoff.
a good
Rip-off, okay.
good dungeon game, kind of dungeon exploring game? I wouldn't say it's dungeon actually. Game like this, what we're playing here, Diablo 3,
No,
Gauntlet,
never played.
Okay,
Gauntlet
for
64.
the sake of argument, yes, because you have 1 to 4 players plowing through monsters. Not a whole lot of puzzling involved.
Are we talking Japanese hentai here all of a sudden? Because you're talking about plowing through monsters here.
I am. You strap the plow to the barbarian and just have him charge forward. What's the problem?
Ah, gotcha.
So, one, Diablo sucks. Sorry.
Sure, sure.
That lost half the fan base. So, two,
No, they agree with you.
Damn, we're down to
Play
13.
Diablo 2!
two,
Play Path of Exile! Actually, we could play Path of Exile.
original StarCraft, great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say.
Is that because of your there's just sentimentality or nostalgia? Same as Zelda?
Nostalgia. I love StarCraft.
If you go to play StarCraft now, would it hold your interest for more than 2 missions? Or would you
Like-
go, man, this is a lot of fun when I was 12.
They remade it.
I'm leaving.
Like, how many times? Well, they remade it once. Remastered it.
0 times so far. They
No,
are
They brought
releasing
StarCraft out about 5 years ago.
StarCraft 2.
Came out
Yes.
in
That's not a
2010.
remaster, that's a sequel.
Sequel. They never remastered, I guess, the original
They're going
one.
to pretty soon.
Okay,
we were
that's
talking
what
about that.
I
Like,
was talking about.
oh, you
So-
motherfucker!
I actually probably would be happy for like 10 minutes because I'm never committed to anything, but I would be happy for about 10 minutes, and then, yeah, I don't know. When it comes to remastered, I think of this one guy that did a Let's Play on YouTube, and he's like, oh, well, oh no,
Parque!
uh-oh,
Because it needed to happen.
it's not the first time.
Kaya, happened to me twice. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, I realized that I had my...
Sorry, folks.
So what had happened
We're gonna
was,
spill.
there was a cup set in front of a tray, a disc tray, that decided to open. Because why not?
Yeah, too many electronics. But when it comes to remastered, all you gotta do is play the game, or play your original game, and just pretend it's in 1080, and it's new.
And more than 20 frames a second, yeah, absolutely. Just
In my
pretend.
And you're
mind,
good.
it's going 60 FPS at 1080p.
And you're good.
Don't
That's
worry.
remastered.
If you get stoned, it goes at 4 million FPS, so what do you care?
So, there you go. Economics right there.
Have you
Yes.
seen Sausage Party?
Not yet.
I don't watch those kind of videos you watch,
Oh, have
probably.
you seen The Pick of Destiny?
Oh, that's a good movie.
I saw that sober. I didn't understand it.
Pretty much the same thing. There's a part in the movie... Louder. Bite me, I'm trying to clean up the spill here.
While you're on your knees.
But there's a part in the movie where the guy does bath salts, and he finally realizes because he's so high on bath salts, he can see into the 4th dimension,
Mm-hmm.
and that now he can see all the hot dogs and food talking to him. So it's kind of the same concept in that aspect. Like if I get high on bath salts, maybe this game will actually be in 60 FPS. And
Well, let's engage in that subject then. The idea that
bath
you
salt?
have a piece of software that you can play and participate in. If you played it when you were younger, let's say, you already have a memory adjusted to it. If you were to look at it again with adult eyes, you might say, "Oh, this is I remember this, but it's hard to do."
guys,
But
you do realize this is the whole segment we do, right? Classic brain.
yes, but those games aren't really polished. They're
For
about
sure.
the same as they were. There's a little bit of a filter, but it's the same game in its native state. It is running at a crisp resolution, and it is running as smooth as it possibly can, but that's more of the hardware. Now, consoles are frequently hamstrung by standardized specs. As a result, they don't always have the best output available for the game, like Dark Souls on Xbox 360, or even Bloodborne on PS4. You have spots where the game's performance dips. It looks great on its own, but it doesn't. It's not up to its full potential. It's unfortunately stuck wherever it's stuck. Now, if you have a game like Ocarina of Time on N64, provided you have a working GameCube, you can always load it up and play it. And it plays, I believe, as I recently heard, at 20 frames a second.
Like
very
games on NES?
well, those games run very smooth because they don't demand a whole lot. But they're a little crunchy now for HD displays.
No problem.
But if you have another handheld or a port where you're playing the game and it's kind of upscaled, it looks nice. But if you have the exact same game, let's take Bulletstorm, as we talked about, I think, a few shows ago. Bulletstorm received a HD repackage. I don't think that I needed it because I bought the original on Steam a couple of years ago. Played through it, works fine, works great. But now, for only $30 more, you can buy it again. And all they did is add Duke Nukem. That's as a piece of DLC, not even in the game.
See,
what is the point of this purchase? What is the point of what is the value that this
I like
package offers?
I don't like. I'm not a big graphics.
I think
guy,
this was
so.
Not yet. You're not.
So and I actually stay away from Netchuck's computer because of that. I'm like, you know what? I'll deal with my 20 frames per second.
I'll make it work.
I'm ghetto. I'll stick with that.
So this is kind of the concept we brought up. I think it was the second or third one. Why did I rebuy
Why did you rebuy Batman again and again and again?
or Resident Evil?
So what? That's the thing.
Nostalgia.
When you
And here's the fun part. Because I've been playing Batman on here, I haven't played Batman once.
Is it nostalgia when it's better graphics?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, the Resident Evil remake, that's what you mean, right?
Resident Evil HD remake, so just took a port and literally like, let's put it in HD.
Well,
and
we have
put it
footage
30 frames
on
per
this
second.
channel of you streaming it through the Xbox, and then I persuaded you to try it on Steam, and you never went backwards. You went, oh shit, I can't now. This is just, the controller is here,
Well, we
but
also
my
had
eyes are happy.
technical difficulties with the one on Xbox too.
Yeah, something about compression and just footage disappearing forever into a string. It was being noodled like a wormhole, basically.
Pretty much.
There's one time I loved this
Bandcamp?
game at Bandcamp that was like MS-DOS mechanics, where you had to type in the commands. to
Commodore
play.
64.
Okay, so you're saying it was a type-in interface, like an
So-
adventure game?
Yeah.
Use Gun on Man?
Yeah, and it was. I liked it, and if I don't know if there was something different, the mechanics or how it worked was different. If they added DLCs, I'd love it. If they add more to it, I'd love to play it with the same
Make me
mechanics.
DLC for an IBM game.
But yes, an IBM game, MS-DOS. I would still
Well,
type
that
in the
exists.
commands.
That exists. That's called mods. And freeware content, shared
Yeah,
content.
yeah, I
that is
love
available
mods.
not officially. Yes, you
You
do.
know I love mods.
You love mods so much that you love mods of popular music that gets struck in our channel.
That wasn't a mod, but yes.
Yes, it is. It is. It's a module for the game.
Oh,
It's copyrighted because, well, yeah, it's a popular thing. If it's original game audio, it's okay. But if it's
it is
brought
original
in,
game audio.
that song, that
On
shanty,
Yeah.
is copyrighted.
Yeah, bastards.
It belongs. It's not quite folk. It's not traditional. So if you sing Amazing Grace, I sincerely doubt anybody's going to strike you. But if you sing Happy Birthday, well, different story. There is a claim on that song. It's all about media
Which
rights.
is weird.
Why is it
Well,
weird?
Happy birthday, because the song,
Yes.
so the song only has, to the original person who copyrighted it, 75 years after they're dead.
Yes.
The song was
But they've
written in
rewritten it.
1889.
They've changed that. It's indefinite now.
But you
Is
gotta,
it? Because
Effectively
What
indefinite.
if
the
someone
Supreme Court
claims
case
it?
finished? Warner Brothers owns the rights to Happy Birthday, by the way. That's why I'm bringing it up. There was a Supreme Court case last year that hasn't been finished yet, where they're suing over that instance because it's like they sold it to Warner Brothers in 1910.
It was supposed to be 10 years. 10 years, you can have it, make money off of it. After that, just let it go. It's free. And they kept extending it.
But
and
what if
extending it,
someone
and extending it.
adds to that after the 10 years, or the original?
As a transformative work, they have to license it in the original likeness from the source, and then say, now I have a derivative work based upon your previous efforts.
Have you seen the Aqua Teen Hunger Force where they get around this because Shake
No,
finds out?
no, I haven't.
So hilarious. They get Geddy Lee and Zach Wilde to do a new birthday song. It makes no fucking sense. It's like, we hired these guys to make this new birthday song since, there's copyrighted on the original and we can't sing it on the show, so here is this. And that's the whole plot of the show is Shake hires Geddy Lee and Zach Wilde to make this birthday song.
Make me a new birthday song.
Pretty much.
Okay, fair enough. And
It's funny.
do they copyright the song, and then for 75 years you can't use that new song?
Well, no, at the end of the show, Shake never pays them, so Zach Wilde and Geddy Lee, he's like, oh shit, there's, Zach Wilde's here to kick my ass, and he gets away, and he gets to his house. He's like, there's a giant airplane in the front of our house. Does it have a giant white night owl on it? Yes. Oh god, it's getting leaked. Keep going, keep going, keep going. That's the end of the episode.
So you suppose that the greatest song in the world, parentheses open, tribute, parentheses closed, has a trademark at the end of it?
Yes.
Because it's a goof, it's a joke, but now it's a distinct work, and now it can make money. And if it can make money, why let anyone else do it?
Well, that's the thing. Weird Al Yankovic technically doesn't have trademarks on his song.
Which song?
Because they're parodies, but since they're a parody of another song, they don't have to. The people that originally did the songs have the copyright.
That's the risk he has to take.
Yep.
Because if he fights for the integrity of his song, he has to then fight the claim of everyone else's. So he can say, listen, you can distribute my stuff if you want to, but I really prefer if you buy the album. Go to the concert, buy the t-shirt.
Long story short, copyright sucks.
Copyright does suck. Rents suck. Society is held back in progress because rents. If it works well enough and makes you money, why change?
Or Frozen.
Frozen?
Sucks.
The Celdwar song? Clayton? No?
Just all of Frozen.
All of Frozen.
Just a word.
Alan Tudyk.
Just a word. Just
Goddamn
Hollywood.
Just Hollywood?
In fact, just America. American movies. American musicals.
We're traveling. Okay, so how do you feel about Bollywood?
India's okay. So, and not to bring up work out of nowhere here, but I had a lady come in. She's like, "Excuse me, sir," and she's Indian, and I'm not going to try to imitate an
Indian
sure?
as in...
Because here's her response. "Excuse me, sir. Do you think any of these plants right here will survive in the middle of India? What's the climate like? Very, very dry. No, they're meant for up here." Oh, okay. I was like, "What?" Like, she's like, "Where at?" I asked her, I was like, "Where at?" Mumbai, I think is what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very popular tech town in India.
But I was just like, so you think a complete arid area is going to be okay for plants that are climated for a tropical
How will this
rainforest?
cactus do in the desert? Reasonably well.
The amount it
How
would
will
take...
these tulips do? Will probably die in about 5 seconds.
When she ships it off to India, the amount it would take, which would probably be like fucking 6 months, knowing, most
What are they going by,
transportation
rowboat?
companies... It takes like over 3-4 weeks just to get a car shipped from Hawaii to America, so I'm sure it'd take a lot of time.
It's most about the waiting list.
So, yes.
Yeah.
So, getting a plant shipped to India, it would die before it even...
Most likely you wouldn't be able to do it because of international laws of shipping plants and food over borders.
Well,
I'm
they'd
sorry,
have
sir, this
quarantine.
plant wasn't pasteurized to our standards.
No, they quarantine it and then
So it's like, what is
inspect
it, Argentina? You can't ship any food or anything out because because of the Andes, it blocks them off. And there's pretty much no natural enemies to this. So if you bring outside food or plants, they can instantly destroy all their crops and agriculture. So they're like,
Well,
so they
actually...
can import things.
yeah.
You said export. Okay.
Sorry, import.
Hawaii's
The
kind of the
things
same
in
way.
Argentina are so deadly, you just can't have them leave the country.
Hawaii's kind of the same way. They quarantine animals because they never had a rabies outbreak in the island before. So they're very, very, very strict on that.
Oh, they did once. On Molokai. We don't go to Molokai anymore.
Really?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
They did that
But
with
it's plausible.
They did it with lepers. Like, let's just shut them on that island. We don't want this to outbreak anymore.
Nope. Put all of them on this place. Never come back. What do they have there? Rocks. They'll be fine. They can cook rocks.
Any food? Nope. Just
They can cook rocks. Exactly.
what is it? It's just a giant volcano.
It actually sucked to live on an island.
Yes. Yes, it does. Why would you want to? If you're born there and you never left, I understand. Why would you want to be stuck there?
Hawaii's very popular for that. But it's so
Well,
most
to visit.
tropical...
To visit, not to
It
stay.
also has a
Popular.
huge homeless population too.
Yeah,
does.
because
let's
people go there and they love it so much, they want to sleep on the beach and find a job and, you know...
Well, that's the one thing though. It's kind of funny. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful.
No,
let's
it
go look at
sucks.
the ocean, the trees, the rivers, the fucking 3,000 homeless people marching down the road.
Well, that's tourism right there. That's American capitalism
I
right
don't go
there.
anywhere to watch homeless people unless it's Portland
Because
after
if,
9 o'clock.
well,
So you just refute your own purpose.
Hawaii has a beautiful marketing value, I guess you could call it. It's just, it looks so beautiful when you see it on TV, when you go to the resorts. But outside that city, it's a third world country. Literally.
Dude, a gallon of milk is like $12.
Cost of living's high.
I don't know about
but that's
$12.
because it's, yeah, I don't think it
There's
is.
someone who
But
lived in
it's
Hawaii. We'll
because
figure this out.
it's because it's, transportation, supply and demand and such. But it's also, it literally is.
To
Roads
borrow
suck.
from Harrison Ford.
A lot of homeless,
From the film
chickens.
classic, 6 Days, 7 Nights.
Yeah,
It's
I
an
seen
island.
it. I seen it.
If you don't bring it here, you won't find it here.
That's the thing. It's, I don't know. It's not great to be a citizen there, exactly, but if you're there for 5 days, it's great.
Well,
so
let's
that's
clarify.
the thing.
This is the modern impression.
They market
a lot of these islands that have populations were little chunks of rock around the equatorial border where it's very, very livable, with populations of 500, 1,000 people, maybe 3,000, the bigger landmass. But then you start bringing in other people saying, this is beautiful, we'll build a summer home here. And little by little, the island can't sustain it.
Arizona can sustain it.
Yeah, with massive irrigation efforts, absolutely. It was Papua New Guinea, I want to say. There's a divide from left and right. Under French colonization, they just stripped off all the resources, and the left side, the Portuguese, it's actually well preserved. I might have gotten that backwards, but the idea is, based upon cultural behavior, one side still has a thriving ecology. The other is wrecked forever by conquistador tactics, primarily.
Mexico's the same way, actually. The northern areas, border towns, a lot of resorts, even somewhere around central Mexico, but southern Mexico, dirt poor. Like, even Mexicans up in the northern area look down on the southern. So it's just, same with Italy, I learned. The northerners, the rich, white, blonde hair, blue eyes, kids,
Florence?
yeah, Florence,
I said Florentine. Wow.
Genoa. They actually look down on southern Italians.
Yeah, the Sicilian thugs.
And Sicilians. So it's the same thing. It's like, even in one country, you could have that very thick line.
Would you like some R. Kelly whiskey?
Very thick line of, culture differences in one little country. And you,
well, okay.
in this country,
but this is because when you say country, a country is a
one
border.
country.
No. A country is a set of borders. Those borders are imposed by somebody in charge. What this means is a country could have any number of people living there that don't like each other, but they're told you all belong together.
Blah, blah, blah. Russia's the same way.
A lot of countries,
as I offered to you before,
Name
look
America.
at Russia on the western verge.
What do we look down on? What do we find a culture difference on? Besides maybe
north and south.
North and south, close.
West and east.
But right now, so
look, okay, I'm gonna explain this to you. Crips and Bloods, east and west, right there, bam.
Wow.
Not even black
So
from east
divide.
people.
There's actually a lot
Compared
of
to
Bloods
West-
in West Coast, and there's a lot of Crips in East Coast.
Well, you got to go to
Yes.
businesses.
But that's gang too. That's not
Well, I get it.
culture from
Look, you can go anywhere. So
Oh, come on, it's like Kmart and
Target.
there you
So
go.
here it's like I think what is it? In the next 200 years, there'll be such a difference in languages that North and South people in the northern part of the United States and the southern part of the United States won't understand each other.
No, they
I
all
don't
will,
believe that.
because this country, all 50 states, does its best. The liberals do its best to diversify.
It's not about
every
liberals,
state.
it's about the means of communication. We're interconnected now to such a degree, and then it's going to evolve separate from geographic lines. You have people talking across continents, people talking across time zones, as opposed to, well, Joe lives over the hill. I don't get to talk to Joe very often because, the hill sucks, so I don't go
Also,
there.
we have a 30-acre farm, and he has 40, so to get to Joe, it's,
But in this country, closest to it is the South and all of America, West, North.
yeah,
There's no culture difference there. There's no looking down. There's no, you're 200 years ago,
There
your
is.
ancestors
Look,
are
look,
different.
look at the state.
Okay.
Look at the state.
there are people.
Over the
I'm going to
mountains.
give you a prime example. So in the South, we'll say this. So in the South, we make fun of people in the North, but in the South, we make fun of each other between each state. We don't like each state. It's not like, oh, I have to live there. I'll move there.
Do you look differently? Do you have different languages?
Yes.
Yes. You see, in the
Dude,
Alabama-
Arizona looks just the same as Georgia, I would think.
Arizona has
Okay.
shorts and sandals, and Alabama has the one strap from the overalls on the left shoulder.
And there's one barrel with a man wearing a wig who says they're your sister.
Let's see.
In Georgia, we would have two barrels. So that way we're
Because
segregated.
you could actually have a difference in just a town in this country.
It is
From,
that
let's
way.
say, southern...
Any country, anyone.
Anywhere with a mass area to cover.
Your claim.
I don't
is
think
that
America
people don't get
is...
along.
I don't think America...
But let's
It's not even old
You're saying
enough.
America, the United States, which is the middle chunk of North
You're right.
America. Canada
I don't think
is
the United
America.
States, not even old enough to have a cultural difference because it's so diversified, a cultural difference compared to Mexico, UK, Italy, Germany, Russia.
Are you talking? Well, it is a pretty young country, yes, but you have the Quakers and who land here from the same white side of the family.
Really?
Pilgrims.
I'm
That's
pretty sure
true.
all the Quakers and Pilgrims are in New Hampshire, and that's it.
Well, yeah, they
Pennsylvania,
stayed there,
jackass.
but who else came?
Pennsylvania,
It wasn't
the
just
Quakers.
No, they were the first.
Okay.
They were the
William
first.
Penn,
Pilgrims
a Quaker,
in New Hampshire.
was literally given the whole state of Pennsylvania, and that's why it's saying that.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure there's
the
a lot of black
Pennsylvania
people in
claim
Pennsylvania.
territory.
Like, yeah, so my bad. Some people with some feathers on their
And
heads.
those are the people that ran
not the
off.
dots.
Hey, let's not forget. When Whitey came here, there was already a well-established, well-functioning, multinational union of native nations who had societies, had diplomacy, had trade, had all the structure.
You bastards.
Westerners just said, oh, fuck, I don't care what you got going on. Move.
You don't have Christian faith. You're savages.
And they didn't all get along either. Some were more warlike. Some were more about profiteering. Some were about keeping the peace. So it depends if you were near the water or away from the water. Yes, that too.
That adds
to make your claim on what you're trying to say, though, I kind of get it. It's like ancient Greece. You had all these city-states. There was no unified Greece. And then after Greece fell to the Romans, they're like, you're not all Romans, but I don't like asshole.
But they were all
town B.
Do you want to die?
same.
Do you want to die? You're a Roman. Okay.
Greece, for the longest time it's been around, even not as unified, but just in general, city-states. Athens, Sparta.
Yeah, city-states that say,
different.
look, we'll look out for each other, but we're different people.
Look, there was such a
Athens,
huge...
Arcadians,
There was such a
Phoenicians. No!
All different religious backgrounds, work ethic, culture, demographics.
Yes.
Yep.
And remember the people who lived outside of those city-states that said, I just want to be left alone and do my thing. No, you have to belong to these. I don't want to.
So that's where the word barbarian comes from, is from pretty much even people in Greece.
Yeah.
Was the way that the inner Greece thought, like your higher cultural areas, Sparta, Athens, they all sat there and looked at the other ones because they were like, we can barely understand you. All it sounds like bar. So the word barbarians is pretty much like them saying bar, 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 bar.
That I don't believe. My claim is that I don't believe America's ever dealt with. Even though it has its racial differences, even though it has its many differences in a way, but
I would like
not
to
a
offer you once
cultural,
again,
religious.
Once again, the difference between western and eastern sides
Civilization.
of these mountains. Just these mountains alone. The climate changes. The sensibilities change. Up here we fish.
Weather
Over
change,
here we farm.
No, every
not just
state
that.
has every different difference. That's my point, though. This country, every state will have those kind of differences, but all integrated in one. Every state, 50 states, so it's not divided
What
from
about the
north,
territories?
south, west,
What about
east.
the territories? Well, I'm saying you belong to America now. Sort of. We're working the paperwork, checks in the mail, but you're American now. I guess.
But this country's allowed so much different cultures, religious backgrounds, skin color, so much that
Sort of.
where it's integrated, to where
Sort
it's
of.
not its own personality. There is no north, south.
You are
There's no
allowed to
Sicilian.
build whatever church you want to, but they can't be in touching blocks. They have to be one block apart.
Oh, no.
Actually,
Down in the south,
where
the only
you-
difference is that you have to have a Waffle House and McDonald's in between you.
Yeah, it's still a checkers game. You can't be adjacent. You have to have a separator or
Actually,
a buffer.
where you're from has a historic background. That wasn't exactly part of Russia. In
Go
that
on.
whole
I'm
area,
curious
actually,
now.
of Eastern Russia.
Go
You told
on.
me it's something.
It is something.
No,
What are
that's
you
not
thinking of?
Russian.
What are you thinking of?
No, you said a name I can't pronounce.
Okay.
area?
I was surprised to know that the territory, or the borough, if you will, just west of the Magadan region is actually its own republic. I did not know this, but it is a northern state within Russia that's sovereign to Russia, but it has its identity, if you will. As I was trying to say earlier, if you look at the names in Russian cities, starting from the west and going eastwards, they get increasingly more native and Asiatic, I would claim, even in the far north. They don't sound like they be in Russian. Now, Chucks, you purport to want to learn Russian. I encourage you to do this. Look at how the names go, and you'll see, oh, it's under the same flag, but these aren't the same people. You know how they say
Oh,
in
yeah,
Mexico
'cause
with the
there's,
border crossed us? Same deal here. Hey, you're Russians now. Oh, okay.
I can't remember what... Cossacks.
Cossacks, yes.
Yes. So they were known for their cavalry.
Yeah.
They were their own state. Fought for a long time. And finally,
Hang on. They were a semi-civilized people who did nothing but drink and fight and pillage.
That was-
And so the state said, listen, we want to exterminate you, but you have a use, so we'd like to press you into service.
that was the thing. So they finally took them under control, and then they made them, I believe it's the Emperor's personal guards.
Yep.
And finally, during...
Hey, you guys are fucking vicious. We could use
Nikolai's. So what happened was Nikolai kept using them a lot, and finally they were like, look, you keep having us kill our own people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, suck our dicks. We're done. It was pretty much the generic, easy way of explaining it. I could go into
That's a good way to say it, sure.
45-minute conversation I was listening to between two gentlemen. But they were explaining it because it was a World War I talk, and they were like, look, they were used a lot, but finally at the end of the war and towards the beginning of the Russian Revolution, they were just like...
Robots.
they were like, look, we're done killing our own people
We'd
to make
like
you
to
guys...
kill for Austro-Hungary, please.
Pretty much, they were like, we're done. I actually finally learned, I was like, you know, as much as I've been learning Russian, slowly learning Russian for about a year,
Sure.
and I was like, you know, Bolshevik and Menshevik, and someone's like, it just means, little,
Bigs and littles, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I should know that, because
Left and right.
So,
You
the
should.
Northern Caucasus.
Northern Caucasus. Which is
sorry.
what?
I'm sorry.
Minnesota, Nebraska,
I'm sorry.
and...
Southern Caucasus of Russia.
Okay.
Dagestan.
Dagestan.
Chechnya.
Those aren't
I
Russian
can never say
countries.
the name.
Those aren't Russian.
there's a...
Exactly what I mean. It is a Russian state, if I'm correct.
Nope.
Not a sovereign
Nope.
country.
Nope.
Not
So
recognized as a sovereign country.
So there is a country north of Georgia. I can't remember. They had a revolution from Georgia. They're like, look, we're done with you guys. We want to be our own state.
Ossetia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we're
Yeah,
going to ally with Russia. And Georgia was like,
I did what Ukraine did with Ossetia, and that's what caused the war in 2007.
Yep.
But that's what I'm saying. Its own culture. So take Canada,
Yep.
U.S., and Mexico,
And even
and
within
make
Canada, Yukon is different from BC.
Exactly.
Different from Ottawa. Different
and
from
Montreal.
Newfoundland. And Montreal,
Make
yes.
all three of those in one country. That's exactly what I'm talking
Well,
about.
how do
America
you make it a
doesn't
country?
have that.
You know how you make it a country? Teleporters. You give everyone suicide
Jumper.
boxes. Yes, you give everyone a chance to be anywhere at any time. It's okay. You work in this time code, you sleep in this time code, you all live here. But you're all instantly interconnected, and technically you're all killing yourselves and making yourselves again. This way you are all in the same pile of shit. Therefore, you are the same people. I
Like
don't care what your
Koreans.
background is. South
So-
Koreans especially, yes. But that gives you a sense of unity. You're all in the same circumstances, ergo you're the same people.
So in northwest China, there's a big issue with that right now.
Northwest China?
Northwest
That's
China.
not China, that's Tibet.
Well,
Tibet.
okay, so you have Tibet, and then right above that, there was a Muslim nation that was there, and China's like, we're just going to take this.
Yep.
And they've had it since, I believe, World War II.
Yep.
India and Pakistan.
Actually, one country up until 60 years ago.
Mhm.
But that was the whole thing. Like, well,
That's
this,
ours
this,
now.
there's
We
still
want this.
That's
Pakistan and India were separated because of Muslims and Hindus, but in China, they're like, no, you're our country. Like, but we're Muslims. We believe in this different stuff. This is our religious. We were our own country.
We have
China's like, no.
I don't
gonna
understand
learn
your words. Get in the truck.
Mandarin or Cantonese, and you guys are going to speak our language and get over it. And they're like, we want to be our own nation.
That's
Not gonna
exactly
happen.
my point.
Oh,
as
that's
much as
cute.
we like to call it
Have you
divide,
heard of the Chinese Empire? Have you heard of China? Get the boat.
1,000 years worth of Chinese empire.
So-
But that's my point. There's in this country closest, but not even a fraction of what it felt like throughout Europe or Eastern Asia, Southeast Asia.
We didn't
There-
become a
this
state
country
until
has.
later on when
It doesn't
empires were
matter.
already started.
But even then, well,
there is
not
no
to
ocean.
mention, like
I found the ocean. State.
like Browbeat said, we invaded this country pretty much. So it didn't have a chance.
What are your
for that
cities named
culture
after?
Divide.
All right, the previous
Native-
tenants.
Yeah. So
Some.
Most.
So this country
90%.
doesn't know.
Take a look.
Some of them are all named after Greek cities or.
Yeah, the borrowed ones. There's a Moscow in your country as well.
Yeah.
Idaho, I believe.
So the funny thing
but
is,
think about Chicago.
there's a
Think
Cairo.
about Minneapolis.
There's a Cairo, Georgia, but it's not
Yeah.
pronounced that way. It's,
Yeah, I know.
it's pronounced Cairo.
Cairo.
So it's like I grew up in I'm going to Cairo. No, it's Cairo.
So you know how in
fuckface.
40K, it's been 10,000 years since the Age of Enlightenment. People forgot how shit works. They just learned the words and say they got the sciences.
Yeah.
Yeah, same deal.
So
Just because you bastardize it doesn't make it right.
I grew up
It's
in
just
a
the
town
best job
that
now.
would my buddy, we first moved there, he was from Houston, Texas. He's like, I'm looking for Houston Lake Road. We don't have that here. Yeah, man, look, it says I live off that street. No, it's pronounced Houston, dude. Like, but it's spelled Houston. It's pronounced fucking Houston.
The
Dumb shit.
Honix!
But that was it was a whole cultural difference. He's like, well, here it's pronounced this way. Well, here,
It's
motherfucker.
not a culture difference.
It is
It's a language
that is-
difference.
when that
It's a deficiency. It's a deficiency, not a
It's
positive
not a
difference.
culture. It's not something you believed in
Well,
hundreds
no.
of years
It
ago.
can
that
become
you
a culture.
lived on.
Yeah.
It can become a culture, just a shitty one.
This is the South, though. That's what I'm saying. You can go 200 miles in the South, and it's like, this is how this is spelled, pronounced, and
Do you
said.
guys do anything different? Do you guys pray differently? Do you
Fuck
guys do
yeah, we do.
anything?
Boiled
Do you guys
peanuts.
do anything different than anybody in the state of California or Washington?
Yeah,
or
have you heard of
Nevada?
fucking snake handlers?
So you're saying there isn't one person in the Western Coast that will do the same exact thing as you guys do in the South?
Well, you talk
I
about
don't
culture,
know.
it takes more than one person.
Yeah.
Let's
I
say
mean,
exactly.
a clan. Let's say a family. Let's say...
So I can
Well,
go to the
there's a
South.
clan in the South, but not many people like it. I don't think anybody likes
What
that
I'm
clan.
saying, I don't think you could compare that big divide, that culture divide, almost to a whole sovereign country that it deserves.
How big is a sovereign country?
Dude, the state of
It could be
Georgia
6,000
is like
people.
the size of Greece. I'd hate to say that.
I get
Size-
that,
well,
but
what?
not size.
Yeah.
But
What?
the
Smaller.
actual.
A little bit.
Oh, with the state of Georgia. Okay,
Yes.
not like the nation of Georgia, the state
no,
of Georgia.
the
Okay.
state of Georgia here. That's my point, is that
The closest I would think would come
most
to it is
Europeans,
New England.
most Europeans see like the United States as like, look, these are their own little countries because all those little states are about the size of
Well,
one
this
of
is true of Spain. This is true of Germany. This is true of France. This is true of Russia. Anybody with enough landmass, the provinces are effectively their own countries, but they bow to the same flag, the same emperor, if you will.
But something with a very, very historic background. And I think the closest that would come would be New England.
How so?
Culture
Patriots?
difference, Patriots, not the football team, but
Tom
the
Brady. We all love Tom Brady in New England.
But you have the true arc of the founders in not the government, but just in general the Pilgrims, the Quakers, like you said, the founders, something that had a culture
Amish.
hundreds of years ago that would still grows, that would be totally different than anyone else in the west, south, north, northwest regions that are very highly populated, I should say, that would do things differently, say things differently, talk differently, believe in different values, whether not religious, but government, culture, you know what I mean? I think the closest, now granted North and South, but if before the Civil War, there's still a big divide between North and South, but it was united still.
No. If you look at anybody who pronounced this during the Civil War, you know what they called the United States?
So,
These United States. They weren't actual. They had more state pride than they had country pride. So it's like when you fought for the Army of the Potomac, you're like, look, I live near the Potomac. This is my fucking country.
but in the early 1800s, it was one country.
It was technically a country, but they didn't see it as a country.
Yeah.
Most people back then did not see it as a country. It was
And
like,
the colonies still didn't get along.
yeah.
Was it because of a culture difference, or was it just because
Yeah,
it was very,
who came over?
very diversified?
A group of people came together, stayed in one place,
Amish.
and got their own church.
Amish is a
different
prime
group of people
example.
Landed, yes.
Amish stayed in one area.
Yep.
Because that was their land.
That's where they landed.
They didn't go to other states.
Actually,
and
yeah, there's like Amish all over the Midwest. And
You know what I'm
they
saying?
spread out, but when they started, it was their spot. This is where they
That
landed.
was their spot.
You colonize wherever you start.
What I'm saying is,
And then when you arrive, like, oh, you guys have a cool thing here. Listen, where can the Irish go? Nowhere, go home.
Georgia.
Dagestan.
Oh.
Dagestan's a prime example. of
Literally,
what I'm
that's actually
thinking
true, by the way. East Georgia was filled with Germans and
of. Italy,
Okay.
Sicily, Dagestan,
Mhm.
or even the islands south of France. That is
Think
part
of
of
the-
Italy.
think of the
Sardinia. Sardinia. That was its own culture, which
Where was,
Napoleon
Napoleon
was from.
yeah,
actually.
that's where they were Italian for the longest time, and then the French beat them in a war.
It's not just the flag that was rose because of conquerors. It's that culture. What I'm trying to say is it's people who believe in that one thing that maybe is not recognized by the UN or by a flag or by something else, but is recognized by something, you know, Taiwan. Perfect example. Recognized by like three
Chinese Taipei. Sorry.
different
There's no
things,
such thing as Taipei.
but they are their own selves.
There's
You know
Taipei.
what I mean?
I get
Where
it. I
I'm
was just
coming
fucking with you, by the way.
from? Don't fuck with me when I have a point, goddammit. That's what I'm trying to, you know. This is serious mode. So
Hey, I only recognize countries that happen in the Little League World Series. I've never heard no damn Taiwan. I've only heard of Chinese Taipei.
But are we on the same page? I
I
don't
get your
believe America is at that point.
So
or will ever be
what
that
would take-
point because it's so diversified. You're mixed in all 50
So
states.
you said politically, though. So you got to look. There are people that want to succeed from the United States because they're like, look, our political views are so
That's
goddamn different.
whiny little bitches, really. No offense.
I don't care what happens. But that's my point, though. You're saying politics plays into a
Russia has had like 50 different regions that are the same way.
What is it? 11 time zones?
8.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Now you suggest that the difference that the U.S. faces is
South
that it has
Mexico, North America, Italy,
a
Sicily,
greater
Southern
amount
Caucasus.
of people trafficking between the nation freely or by necessity than any other nation. That's what your claim is. Because you've had plenty of inflows and outflows in the past, emigres, if you will, if empires were fighting and certain populations were pressed away. So we think of England as, you know, white people, but they have
Ireland.
they have good curry, they have
Scotland.
good kebabs, they have a lot of Polish workers. What happened there? Oh, socioeconomic factors forced populations to move to other places. They made their way and incorporated themselves into the culture.
No,
So-
no. Actually,
was
what I'm
what
talking about
exactly
is
that.
Scotland.
That was-
No. We're
in
not.
England.
We're not. We're
The
talking about the
perfect
U.S.
example.
We're talking about the U.S. But shut up about Whitey. I don't care about Whitey right now. I care about the compositions of the countries, the populations, how they do mix over time. So your suggestion is people can't really get along because they have so much freedom and so little constraint to become a unified identity. They have clusters of interest groups, special interest groups, if you like. You guys love this shit. You
Keyword.
lobby for rights, as opposed to being pressured into this. Now, let's say we have the South Park scenario where you have the future people coming in.
They all have the different languages, goods, and facts.
Yes, but they actually have unity, and everyone else is threatened by this, so they get behind the banner of the Dakar Gerbs. That is
they
unity
gay
in the
pile.
face of adversity. Yes, exactly. So that is a response to a more unified threat or identity that is different or consistently different than your own.
Not what I'm talking about exactly. I'm talking
Well, you
about
were talking
origins.
No, you weren't.
Scotland.
What about
Own
Scotland?
country.
Its own country.
Okay, full of Danish
Ireland.
and Norse.
Arizona. And they have a huge...
Their own country? You mean people who fought over the island and the victors got to breed with the rest and say, again,
How long have they fought?
How long have they fought? Centuries.
Exactly.
Hmm.
That is exactly what I'm talking
And then
about.
the English said,
Scotland
"Listen,
is part
you're
of the
ours now."
United Kingdom. Am I not correct? Right now, till this day, is
So
a
is
part of the
Wales.
United Kingdom.
So is
And
Wales,
Wales.
so is Isle of Man.
Perfect example.
So are the
right
Falklands.
there. This goes back.
Yes.
Now, granted,
But this
America,
is political lines, isn't it, people? The people say, you belong to this flag now. But they're still their own culture, their own people. They say, whatever, well, we have amnesty from the
It's-
Queen.
The Great Britain is a unity of countries. It is
Yeah.
something that they go together.
that's
We're
actually pretty
A
recent,
political
too.
accord.
accord, yes, because it was like,
Yeah.
hey, look,
Centuries.
we need to make ourselves survive easier. What's the easiest way to
Because
survive?
before it was that, it was just
So we're going to do this.
So what you're saying is, America is a teenager that needs to find identity, and it only happens over time. So it needs like 2 more centuries to figure itself out.
Or will
Pretty
it
much.
ever find identity to have
Sure.
a divide that large?
By the time we get
Yeah.
to Star Trek, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, every country's going to go through that. Hate to
Well,
say
some
it.
already have. Look at China.
True.
Like, why is China so smug? Because it's seen this shit before a lot of times. It's not even surprised by anything. It just adjusts and rolls with it because their idea is dynamism. America still wants to show its dick. And just say, look how cool I am! Look how cool I am! Look how cool I am! Most of the nations of the world already are over this. They did theirs. They're done. They're focusing on other things.
I mean, you got to look at Great
Look at
Britain.
the Jews.
Let's
They
put
just, they're playing the long con. They just got to make it.
It's-
and be
it's-
in charge.
an example. It would be
Family
like
Americans, yeah.
all the Native Americans in this region, in America, before we, colonized it, had one state.
Before you virus bombed it, yes.
Had one state, South Dakota, and that was it.
Okay.
All of them. Like, you could barely find a whitey driving through Sturgis.
That's called
I mean,
concentration camp.
just exactly.
Did the same to the
They
Jets.
all
Or a quarantine
migrated
zone.
to South Dakota,
Hold these blankets, by the way. They're not covered in anything.
and
Go.
that's it. That's it. 49 other states
What is that?
were diversified
Irish Spring?
American,
That's nice.
but South Dakota was highly populated with the natives,
Mhm.
but it's still considered a state of the United States. That is exactly what I would be talking about right there.
Once again, you're talking about
A concentrated
political
area,
boundaries.
a concentrated area, political boundaries,
Okay.
with its own culture.
Well, with
Because there's a
forced
lot of
culture,
native tribes in South
So
Dakota.
I hate to say this, we kind of pulled an 8 off here. It's like, we don't like those people that much, but we like the land because there's gold on it. You're gonna go here now.
Gold, farms, tobacco,
Well,
sugar, cotton.
They needed cattle fields. It wasn't really tobacco up there. It was mainly cattle.
Well, no, I
And
don't
in
mean
the
up
Sioux,
there,
I believe
but-
it's the Sioux Falls area and the Black Hills. They
all
found
of
gold.
west. all of,
It's eastern South Dakota, if I'm not
well,
mistaken.
all of east of east.
Eastern and Southwest Dakota.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the north side.
All of west of Virginia. Just saying, Tennessee,
Wait, that's south of Virginia.
west still.
I don't know,
Am I
whatever.
west? Am I west?
Southwest.
West.
So Virginia or West Virginia? Because it's right
No,
under
because
West
West
Virginia.
Virginia is next to Tennessee. Am I correct?
North
Am I
Carolina
wrong?
and South Carolina are next to Tennessee. So it literally goes Georgia, Tennessee.
So then it's still west.
Somebody, they're
West
mapping
Virginia,
this out with their
Kentucky.
hands,
So you
by
put
the way.
13 colonies and go
Nobody's
west.
pulling out the phone. They're just trying to mime geography right now.
Hey, you know how many times I had to drive up to Ohio? I had to go through all those states, son.
How many toll booths?
0.
What culture
Zero.
does I?
Interesting.
I hope.
So literally, I'm going to
Iowa.
give you a perfect cultural difference between
Corn?
states. Yes, pretty much in cattle.
Corn and cattle. Corn
So
to beef is
Virginia
delicious.
and West Virginia. You know why there's West Virginia and Virginia?
Why?
Jersey Shore.
Sure, we'll go with that because it's nowhere near close.
There's actually in the Civil War they broke off,
They
right?
broke
but
off
there's
because of the-
culture differences.
There is everybody in West Virginia were like, we're pro-union, we don't want to
Hatfields.
deal with slaves, and Richmond and all this. Like, we're slave holders, we want to be this. It's kind of like Maryland. Maryland was half and half actually. Half the people in Maryland were slave holders, the other half weren't. So that was a big issue there, and that was kind of the concept of West Virginia and Virginia. They're like, we're going to split. We're going to have our differences.
So besides Virginia being the border of West
What do they
Virginia,
split along? A river? Mountain ridge?
I
A
believe
ditch?
it's a river.
What are you, cartographer?
No, this is important because people divide based upon things they recognize.
No,
Usually
they
geographic
don't.
points.
So there's still, yeah, actually it's true.
I'm pretty
because
sure
if
the
you look
Rocky
at-
Mountains don't divide the whole freaking West Coast.
It does.
I'm pretty sure there's like 5 states that go
Look.
through the Rocky Mountains.
At
Well, 3.
a map.
How many states does the Rocky
topographical
Mountains go through? How many states does the Cascades
all
go
the way
through?
to Arizona.
About 8 of them, actually.
All right. So how many states cover the Rocky Mountains?
About 8 of them,
John
actually.
Denver.
What do I say? My point exactly.
Actually, there's more
Okay,
than that,
then
isn't
the
it?
Cascades and the Appalachians, then the Mississippi.
You don't
then
need
whatever.
geography to divide. I'm
Yes,
sure there's
you do.
100,000 different
Greece.
So
regions.
if you're
You brought
talking
up
about
Spain.
if you brought up,
You brought up
the
Russia.
colonies, the original colonies are divided
Yeah.
by
You know
rivers
what
and
divides
territories.
Russia and China? The Tian Shan Mountains. Why? Because it's fucking hard to get over mountains. So they picked a spot and said, here, in the middle.
3
yours,
roads that
mine."
go through.
I thought it was Genghis Khan and all of his little shitheads. Like, you know what? They have this area.
Oh, they're in the
Fuck
middle.
China.
They're Mongolia. Like, listen, we live up here, so stay off of this ridge. This is ours.
But what is West Virginia border besides Virginia?
The ocean.
Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky. No, Kentucky.
East side.
East side, Virginia, and Pennsylvania.
Ah, there you go. Pennsylvania. Liberals. That's why they broke up.
Liberals, half the state voted Republican.
Where's Pennsylvania? Part of the Union or Confederates?
Union.
That's my point exactly. Liberals. That's why they broke off. Too many liberals in the state.
I don't know your point anymore.
Back
I
then,
don't
they
understand.
broke off because Republicans, numbnuts. The
Good
Union
point.
was Republican.
Yeah, but yeah.
So
good point.
let's try and tell this
You're right.
together.
I consider them liberals. They're not Republicans.
What's
They're,
a
I
filmic
consider them
equivalent?
Just
today
because you're a log
liberals.
cabin Republican and no one
If
else
they
does.
were, let's say, 100 years later down the road, they'd be considered liberals.
Yes, they would.
Just saying.
They would be.
What's a filmic equivalent of a geopolitical argument that we're having here?
There is no point,
Enemy behind the
actually.
lines.
This is
Enemy
just-
behind the gates.
Enemy at the
Well,
gates.
wondering why.
Gates,
sure.
Well,
Owen
my,
Wilson.
The Volga, yes.
my
everything's
point
about
is,
Volga.
why would West Virginia consider its own sovereign state, I guess you could say,
Because every state
during the
says-
break-off?
Uh-huh.
Why? Even though Virginia was
Slaveholding.
pro-slave,
Where was the money?
and the North
Where was
was
the money?
In the
slaves.
Union.
No,
Factories. They had much bigger factories, telegraph lines.
they had more population.
They
too.
also had the coal mines too. So it was,
They had more industry and more population than the South, right?
So any landowner being told, by the way, you gotta like divide your goodies up against among these people because the state lines have changed. They're gonna be pretty upset. They're gonna
So-
say, no, I want to go my own state.
So West Virginia didn't stay, I guess you could say, loyal to Virginia by sticking with landholders and slaves and economics, but they went towards, I call liberals, but I was wrong in this point, to the Republican view of freeing the slaves, more industrial, not to mention Pennsylvania, New York.
Not to keep banging the drum. What's funny though is if you hear some of the early Abraham Lincoln quotes, he was a huge racist.
Of course.
He was like,
You
I don't
mentioned that
think the
before.
black men should be freed, and they're not equivalent to the white man. Quote Abraham Lincoln. Like what?
How old was he at the time?
It was 2 years before he ran for office that he quoted that.
Okay. How old was he?
I don't know.
You should find out because people say a lot of stupid shit in their lifetimes.
They do.
And they usually
And
learn more. They go,
he took it back. He
I'm
was
so
like,
sorry.
Rick Perry.
Which is funny though. The kind of funny thing is though, the Emancipation Proclamation wasn't what freed the slaves. And everyone's like, he did so much, he freed the slaves. No, actually, Andrew Johnson did with the fucking 13th Amendment.
And
What's
got
another
impeached.
Yeah.
Go figure.
He did get impeached. The only president to get impeached. Almost Nixon though, and Clinton.
What is this about?
Wow.
Actually, from what I understand, Clinton technically got
mountains.
impeached, but was not convicted. So he got impeached by the government, but in the court of law was never convicted from that impeachment.
Yeah, what are you going to convict? You got a blowjob and you lied to us?
So basically, he got
High
voted
five.
by the government to be impeached,
Yeah, to be.
but he was never charged of any crime, nor was he convicted of any crime. So the
Tell
government
me the
could
etymology
talk.
of the word impeachment because I just keep thinking of the song about peaches.
So think about the
Peaches
Senate
are
saying,
fine.
hey,
Peaches
you're
fine."
guilty. We all voted. You're guilty. But
And
yeah,
it-
you still got to go through the judicial
Hey,
system.
by the
and
way,
you're
this
not
is
guilty.
free.
This is all linked, by the way, because that song was done by the President of the United States of America.
Copyright.
Damn it!
Darn you.
Back to copyright laws.
But no, look this up for me. The etymology of impeachment. I'm very curious. Can you spell etymology?
Foreigners. The origins?
Yeah.
Damn it.
E-T-Y-M-O.
So close, I missed the fucking Y.
Oh, wait. I thought you were looking up impeachment.
Yes, the etymology of impeachment.
Are you looking up entomology? Or
Not
you...
entomology. Not insects.
You don't want to know
Words.
insects?
No.
Latin, pest, ped, foot. Latin, pedicia, a fetter. Latin, impedicare, catch, entangle. Old French, impeacher, impede, impetch.
Impediment. Okay.
Impede.
So you stun the guy. You
How
give him
come
the
I have a
shins.
feeling he knew the answer before we asked
Latin,
the
Middle
question?
English also since a hinder prevent earlier as impetch.
Yeah. A
Old
counter
French,
hit.
impetcher.
Or a cut kick. Gotcha. So impeachment means, hey, whoa, slow your roll.
You've been entangled in something.
Kick him in the balls.
Exactly.
Slow him down a bit. Take a breather.
Kind of like what you guys do to me.
A little bit.
What about my social life?
So still, any movies possibly linking to the subject of land claims and identity?
Glory.
Identity.
Glory? No. Okay.
Really?
No.
Good talking.
American Beauty, possibly? Something? No? Okay.
What does Kevin Spacey having to do with the bang his neighbor?
K-Pac, that's what this has to go with. Okay, yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
And the usual suspects. But basically, anything about Kevin Spacey has to do with geopolitics. Somehow.
House of Cards, whatever you want to add.
Exactly. That was the culmination, is House of Cards. Trent Reznor.
Great show.
David Fincher. And Kevin Spacey.
Trent Reznor.
Yes.
He's in what?
The guy from the Shield.
Those three people
What's his name?
work together a lot.
Wait.
So House of Cards has involvement from all three of those.
That's the guy from Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. Yeah, Trent is a really big guy in scoring and audio stuff. You should look that up. He's really big into making soundtracks.
But I did know the guy who was the lead singer of President of the United States when they disbanded in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing porn music.
Porn music?
Yeah, he created porn music.
Okay, that must have been pretty good.
They paid him
lots
enough.
Lots of Peaches.
They have like
Peaches for free.
3 good hits and that's it.
But it was long.
They paid him in
long.
Peaches, and he really resented the fact.
Yeah.
The guy's money, please. I need rent. Here's your peaches. God damn it.
Start your own peach farm.
It was a goof. I wrote a song as a goof. Pay me.
You know what I was watching a show and he was talking about the song's background of that. It's like, I had a girlfriend who had a peach tree in her yard.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to wait for her and I would squeeze peaches in my hand, and that's where the song came from.
Why would you squeeze peaches?
Have you ever squeezed a peach in your hand?
No.
That's a good feeling for some reason.
I bet
so. I'm growing up in a state where there's a peach
growing up
farm.
in a state where you
It
think
may
about
be
your sister while you're
to a
squeezing
different
a
feeling,
peach.
yes.
It's like putting warm apple pie between your legs.
Oh my god.
Nature's candy in your hand.
Yeah. But no, actually, there was a peach farm back home.
This is gross to you. Very grotesque. His thoughts about his sister.
I don't have a sister, but I told you where that what we did though. If you didn't have any sisters,
Oh my god.
you got
Don't
a barrel
listen.
and a blonde-haired wig and threw it on them and tossed them in the barrel.
Always a barrel. Never the hot box.
Nope. We can't afford any fancy stuff, so we found whiskey barrels all over the place.
Yep. White people in a bunch of trailers in the South. There's identity.
You can afford trailers? Wow. Good job.
They build
So
the trailers.
I was making fun of. I was making a joke with one of our bosses sitting there talking about the South, and I was like, I never quite understood how dumb people were in the South. It's all right,
Until
guys.
you left the South and went, oh,
Well, no.
fuck.
While I was there, I realized I was about 10 or 11. I realized, all right, there's a Cat 5 hurricane coming right through the thing of Florida. 250,000 people stayed at home. Why would they do that? And all of a sudden, 2,000 people died in this deadly hurricane. No shit. What do we feel sorry for them for? It's a terrible day in this state. Like, no, it's a bunch of fucktards living in a goddamn trailer.
It is a terrible day, but the people are to blame.
So I was wrong.
Go on.
There is a difference between in this country, a very big identity difference.
There is
Stupid
no
people
identity.
in the South.
There is no identity.
And smart people in the
Well,
North.
that's the thing. Like, we also brought up. We were talking about the tornadoes that
No.
were.
In this country, smart people generally lay low. And the stupid people who think they're smart are very loud. And they yell about, it's north, south, east, west,
not
Midlands.
So, we also brought up, though, in Missouri and all these states in the middle of the country that are still under the Donna-Dixon line here.
Dixie.
Mason-Dixon, but
What's
Donna
it?
Dixon was a disco singer in the 70s.
Ah.
But what happened is that you look, it's like, all right, there's a tornado coming. We have a tornado shelter. We're going to stay in our trailer that's anchored down into the ground. Nothing can kill the sky. Woo! Let's go! And then 200 people die in a fucking tornado.
Oh.
It's like,
So-
how did you, why, like, you deserve.
There is actually something I learned the other day, which was pretty cool. You know the movie Walking Tall with The Rock and Johnny
Based on a
Knoxville?
true story?
The
Yes.
rundown.
And
Yeah,
there
it's
was
actually
a
a remake, by the
remake
way.
from another movie, bunch of biographies, about a true town sheriff. He was a constable of Adamsville, Tennessee, and then became sheriff of, oh my god, McSomething County, I believe, in Tennessee. It was a county of Selmer, freaking Purdy, all sorts of little towns in Tennessee, because I mapped it. It was pretty cool. And he actually had a reputation of beating people up with a bat.
Yeah.
An actual bat. And like this guy, now this guy was actually the Dixie Mob, which apparently was a thing back then. Because Tennessee, in this town, it was kind of the border of Tennessee and something else. Mississippi, not Mississippi.
Alabama.
Is it Alabama? Somewhere around there. It had a border.
Yeah, no shit. It's landlocked.
Had a border. There was a border.
But it was bordered on 4 sides.
He actually had a bunch of assassination attempts on him by the Dixie Mob and another.
You know why they
gang.
missed? They're all jacked up on moonshine.
But his wife was actually killed in one of those assassination attempts. And then Tennessee had a law about sheriff's term limits, so he ran up his term, became constable at Adamsville again, and then died in a car crash that the family suspects as a murder, because, I don't know, he just ran off the road, something with the mechanic failure. So, long story short though, since we were talking about movies, since we were talking about the South, whole 9 yards, this guy was badass. Like, he literally beat a bunch of suspects with this bat. He, like...
Whoa, that's circulated the courts, sir. That's not allowed here in the States.
He puffed up his chest towards a very violent group. And, without thinking of any consequences.
You ever heard about the crazy dental doctor from World War II?
No.
So there was a fleet of... not a fleet. There was a whole battalion of Japanese... There was a whole battalion of Japanese infantry charging at his thing, and there was only like a small platoon sitting there. So he literally hopped on his, I think it was MG42, hopped on it. He was a dentist, by the way. Told his platoon to go. Literally was getting shot, holding off this whole fucking battalion of Japs. And then when he ran out of ammo, pulled out his pistol and kept killing. When they finally found him, he had like 30-something stab wounds and like 40 bullets. But they said he was just hunched over. But it held off him long enough for those people to get away to get reinforcements to take the hill back.
Every army has that story.
Audie Murphy.
It's close. But he became an actor, so it doesn't count anymore.
And he was short, so he's very distinctive.
Well, he couldn't find him over the little bushes and stuff. Like, where's he at? Just running all over the place.
But we have talked a lot.
What have we learned here today?
We don't agree on geographical and political situations.
Yeah.
And that he thinks liberals are Republicans from the 1860s.
Yeah.
He does think so. It's really important to feel distinct, I suppose. But unified, but distinct. But we have to band together, be strong, but don't touch my stuff, it's mine.
Whether movies, games, or political views.
We got pretty political here.
It did.
But I mean, Kaya, are you offended by this?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Are you offended by this?
It's entertaining.
We gave Chuck a little leeway here. Chuck, excuse me. Well, both of you guys. Both of you and Coin. But I hope it was enjoyable.
It was.
Yeah.
Maybe more focused next time. Maybe. Doubtful, but
Very doubtful.
It's a good Grimecast experience.
Good talk.
Good talk. Next time, guys, tune in. Roughly, well, I'll say 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
About a 2-week period.
Around about 2 weeks from now. Have fun.
Deuces.